absolutely love my hand-painted Disney jackets. They're just so much fun, they're super cute, but in the heat that is typical at Orlando, I don't get a ton of wear of them in the parks. So when I found this really simple, very cheap denim vest, I knew it was perfect. I then had to decide what to put on the vest. A bunch of characters, one character, a theme, a park. Well, I've always been obsessed with Ariel, so here's my DIY The Little Mermaid denim vest. So this is a pretty simple, lightweight denim vest. I decided to use the existing seams as sort of frames for different sections of the design. So I used a white colored pencil on the main section on the center of the back to sort of sketch out roughly my basic design, which of course meant a very stylized Ariel, and I really wanted to have a lot of fun with this image, so it's not like super true to her real character design. I definitely had a little bit of fun with it. So I exaggerated things like her tail fins and her hair, and really went a little bit flowier and crazier with it, but I definitely wanted it to still be identifiable as Ariel. Once I had the basic design sketched in, I was able to start using the paint. So of course I started with a very vibrant, bright red because her hair is basically the background of the image. It's the furthest back in the space, so it makes sense to start there. When I'm painting onto a garment that I'm going to be getting a lot of wear on, and I know it's going to need to be washed over time, then I like to make sure that I really go pretty heavy on my paint coverage. I also know from painting my basic denim jacket that you can only get so much detail really easily when you're painting with acrylic onto fabric. I make a lot of customized Disney outfits for myself and my husband because A, we're big Disney nerds, major Disney fans, and B, we go to the parks pretty regularly and I really take my Disney outfits very seriously. So I like to shake things up and bring a little bit of that Disney magic into my outfits on a regular basis. So be sure to subscribe down below if you're looking for some inspiration into really fun, customized Disney outfits. So as you can see, I really exaggerated her hair. I gave her a lot more hair than she does in the movie, and I made it a little bit flowier, a little bit loopier. It tends to be one big mass in a lot of her different underwater scenes, sort of all flowing together as one big piece, but I gave her a few little tendrils floating off to make the image a little more interesting and a little more fun. I did decide to treat this a little bit differently than my Disney jacket. I didn't want it to be quite as cartoony with a cel-shaded and black outline effect. I wanted to make it a little bit more painterly and soft, but if you want some more tips on painting directly onto a garment, be sure to check out my Disney jacket videos. I talk a lot about different little things that I learned and picked up through that process. And especially from my first to my second jacket, I had definitely gotten into a major groove with that and was able to really crank out a bunch of different characters. One of the things I love most about painting characters and putting characters onto clothing that I can wear into the park is that A, it makes it a really fun, interesting outfit, and fellow Disney nerds in the parks usually get pretty excited when they see something that's very custom, because you will notice a lot of people wearing some of the same things over and over again, especially if it's something readily available like from Target or Walmart or something. So having something that's fully custom and one of a kind, the other Disney nerds that are going around in the parks get kind of excited and they like to see that, especially I find a lot of the cast members get pretty into that. So having something fun and custom is always fun, but then on top of that, I like having the characters sign these pieces rather than taking in an autograph book or something that you're not going to get any use out of. It's probably just going to sit in a drawer somewhere. This is something that I can wear and take out into the world on a day-to-day basis. So I really enjoy that aspect of making these character garments. I can wear them all the time, and I can bring them with me even when I can't be in the parks. So now that I've finished painting the graphic on the back, I can move on to the typography and the foil. In this case, I'm using an iridescent heat transfer vinyl. I've never used this foil before, but I got it on sale and it is absolutely beautiful on the roll, so I think that this iridescent quality is really going to play up with the mermaid feel, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I cut out the words with my Cricut and then played around a little bit with placement. I knew about where I wanted to have it anyway, so I already knew the dimensions to cut it out at, but I did play a little bit. I didn't want it to get too high up in case the collar, when it's folded down, might cover some of it, but I didn't want it so low that it would get down into the actual seam. Then I cut out several sections of a mermaid scale with the same foil. I didn't have them in a very specific, harsh square outline. It's almost vignette-y with the scales sort of fading off in different directions, and no two patches were exactly the same. They do all have the same size of scale, obviously, but they are different amounts and compositions of scales. I put 2 scale sections on the front, one on the upper right and one on the lower left.
Perfect.
And then I added some scales to the back, working them in around the painting, cutting out scales where I had to so that I wouldn't overlap the two. I let everything cool really well before I tried to peel. I did still find that there were some sections that were not wanting to stick to the garment super duper well. So I tried to iron them a little bit straight with the iron directly onto the foil. That was not the best, but it kind of worked. I just absolutely love how shiny and sparkly this foil is. I like that the typography is fairly subtle from a lot of angles, but then some angles it just pops and shines with all those great colors. It picks up the pinky reds and the purples and the golds from the paint colors I had used perfectly, and I'm super excited with how this turned out. Overall, I'm really happy with how this vest turned out. I will say I had never worked with this sort of iridescent HTV before. It's not my favorite to work with. It was a little hard to weed. It's like there's different layers that separate kind of funky, and ironing it on was a little complicated. Either I didn't get enough heat that I'm absolutely convinced that everything is going to stay in place over a long period of wears, or it just sort of shriveled up a little bit if you had too much heat on it. So I am a little weary of how I'm going to use this in the future, but it's just so sparkly and pretty that I really couldn't resist it, and it's definitely got that mermaid feel to it. So overall, very happy with the HTV that I chose. So what do you think? Do you like my mermaid vest? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you found this helpful and inspiring. If you did, please like the video. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.